Hey everyone, this is Sakurasella. You can call me Jen though. um, I haven't really done very many speed paints, but I figured that it would be a cool thing to do if I just, you know, started doing it. I did one before in February for my OC Praline, and I actually stayed up all night for like 6 hours painting that, well, drawing that. So today is actually my birthday, and I have a party in a few hours, but I figured, hey, I have some downtime in between right now and the party, so why not narrate it instead of putting like a song or whatever over it in case YouTube is like, I don't like this content because it is stealing music. So, I hope my voice will suffice. Well, today, in this video, I'm drawing my Dungeons and Dragons bard, seersh. I actually came up with her a few years ago before I really started to play D&D. She was kind of like an experiment to see if I could get into it, and unfortunately at the time I wasn't able to use her, so she's just kind of sat here and stagnated for the past couple of years until my friend was like, hey guys, I want to try this pre-made campaign. Does anyone want to join? So I was like, okay, yeah, alright, I already have a character. Just gotta make her a sheet. So I figured the last time I drew her was last February or March? I'm not quite sure. Either way, it was a year ago. So I figured I would give her a little bit of an updated portrait drawing, art work, so that I can show off my fellow D&Ders what she looks like. So I'm not really sure what to talk about, so I'm just kind of winging it. I thought about sitting down and making a script, but well, gamers, unfortunately, I am not very good at sticking to scripts. I improvise a lot, and it made giving presentations in school and college a fucking nightmare. So this whole thing is going to be ad-libbed, and I hope I'm not boring. I hope I can entertain you. Speaking of entertaining, as I said, seersh is a bard, and her thing is that she's an entertainer. She's also kind of low-key a con woman. She likes to set up things that make her feel in control. Since she has her own traumatic backstory, as most of my original characters tend to, since, spoilers, they're all little bits of me. They all have a little bit of me infused into them, as I think most people do with their original characters. So, seersh here, her name was originally Shifra. They're both Irish names, and if I slip into calling her by her old name, I apologize. It's just I'm so used to that. So seersh, when she was a kid, she lived with her dad and her brother. But then their dad died in a quote-unquote accident. I'm not quite sure what I wanted that to be yet. I don't know if I want it to be a legitimate accident or if I want it to be a murder. And I guess it all depends on what our DM does. But after seersh's dad died, she went to live with her brother, who was, I guess, the Dungeons and Dragons equivalent of a heel wrestler. I don't watch wrestling, but I have a colored history with it, considering my uncle and a lot of my friends really do like it. So he spoiled her and raised her essentially as a princess, since after he got famous, they finally had money like they had never had when their dad died. So she was used to high life, and then her brother died. Also in a quote-unquote accident. I don't know if I want that to be genuine or if it was like a rigged game where he ended up dying because of some, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons mafioso or something. I'm getting off track. So, Seersh here had a pretty shitty backstory. It's up to you if you want it to mean shitty as in her life was bad or shittier as in I didn't give her the best that I could have given her. But at any rate, so when she was around, I want to say 16 or so, she, or 15, I think she's 17. I might be mistaking her age with my Dragon Age tabletop character. She was in, I want to say, early teens when her brother was killed. So she had to learn how to make it on her own. And in doing so, she kind of ended up falling in with, I guess, the bad kind of crowd that you don't want your 13, 14-year-old anything, any relation, friend, whatnot, to fall into. And she kind of learned kind of underworldy things. A lot of this is me making it up as I go. I never really formally sat down and thought about what I want her story to be. So this kind of works for me as well as it works for you, if it's indeed working for you. So I want her main thing to be in this campaign her coming to grips with the tragedy in her life and also becoming a better person because she's kind of a spoiled brat that never grew out of that even after tragedy struck not once but twice. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of her. Even though she's not completely fleshed out, I really love the outfit design I came up for her. I think it was maybe even 5 years ago or so when I came up with her originally. I haven't actually checked the date, but I am very proud of her outfit design. It wasn't like anything that I had ever come up with before until that point, and I think it's kind of what got me into making character design. Because, I mean, I'd made characters, but they never really had like a formal, like, iconic outfit or anything, because it was just like nothing really ever stuck with me. But Seersh is here. Told you I'd do it. Seersh is here. I don't know, it's something I really like about it. Oh, and that scarf she wears for her top is actually part of her brother's old cape or scarf or something that he used in his uniform outfit thing. So that's a little bit of fun Seersh lore. Seersh lore? Seersh lore. Seersh lore. Anyway. So, I don't really know what I could be saying about my process here in the actual drawing bits, but oh, that right there. I like to give it a white background underneath so that I can draw on top of it and see what it would look like without the lines before I actually commit to, getting rid of the lines. I'm actually still kind of a novice at drawing ruffles, so I do kind of scramble around trying to get them as nice as possible. Before this piece, I never really attempted a real, actual ruffly kind of look. I'd always kind of just bullshit it until it looked alright. But since I've been growing as an artist this past year and doing things and stepping out of my comfort zone and whatnot, I thought, hey, this is a good next step. I might as well go for it to see how I like it and see if it is something I'd be willing to put the time into, especially on recording. And I think it turned out really good. even though I had to go back and fix it in one place, which you'll probably see in a few minutes. Boy, oh boy, I've been talking for like 9 minutes so far, but it feels like I haven't really gotten anywhere. I guess after this video or during the video, if you want to leave a comment down below and tell me what kind of content you'd like to hear, if I were ever to do this again, I would really appreciate it. So a bit about me, I guess. Well, my name is Jen. I've been drawing for, I want to say since I was 5 years old. It was about the same time when I played my first video game, which was Tomb Raider 2. Back then, there weren't very many female characters that I could identify with, so I really, really, really liked Laura from Tomb Raider. So I would always ask my uncle, hey, could you draw her for me? Can you draw her for me? And after so many times of this, he was like, draw yourself. And I was like, huh, okay. So I always tried to, but it was never good enough for me. So I really resolved to learn to do better. I wanted to do better so that I could draw this character that I really liked. And fun fact, to this day, I still haven't drawn her. Oh, I messed up there. Damn. So this is kind of silly, but she isn't the Hulk. It's pretty obvious that she is in fact not the Hulk because she's like a little teenage girl. I like to fill in the colors that are harder for me to see on a white background before. I like to fill it in with a darker color that is easy for me to see so I can do it all and be sure that everything is where it should be. Sometimes it goes out of the line, but when I see it, I usually go back and fix it, unless I don't see it. I think that just sounded silly. Whatever. My point is that I have kind of bad eyesight. I actually wear bifocals. A little bit of Jen lore. I wear bifocals because my eyesight is that bad. It's bad, folks. It's like if I take my glasses off, I'm like maybe a foot or so away from my laptop. If I take my glasses off, I wouldn't be able to see the screen. It's just how it is. So like instead of squinting the whole time, like did I get out of that line? Am I still in the line? Am I just use a darker color. I'm not sure if other artists do that. I mean, there has to be some, but none that I know. I don't think they do it. I haven't ever seen them do it in their process videos. So I don't know if it's a thing unique to my friend group or what. Boy, usually I can talk forever and I can fill it up entirely, but I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to think of cool, interesting content for you. I don't. Right. My Lara Croft story. Funny thing about that is, when I was a little girl and I really loved Lara Croft, I would watch my uncle play it all the time. After probably about a week or two of badgering him about it, like, hey, let me play, I want to play. I want to play the game. He was finally like, you want to play the game? Do you really want to play the game? I'm like, yeah, let me play the game. So, if any of you are familiar with the entirety of Tomb Raider 2, there's this one level that starts you off underwater after a submarine crash or something along the lines of that. It's been like over 20 years, folks. It's kind of blurry. He started me off in that level where you're underwater, and your first operation of business is, of course, going to be find oxygen. Simple enough. So, me And my little girl hands and my little girl brain was like, okay, go find air. Let's find air. But little did I know, gamers, that there was something underwater there with me, and I was not alone. There was a shark. And if you're a 19-year-old man like my uncle was, it's not much of a big deal. But when you're a little tiny teeny bopper child, barely out of toddler years, that shit's fucking terrifying. I was terrified of sharks for most of my adult life and child life, my entire child and adolescent years were spent in fear of a shark attacking me in the freshwater bodies of rural Pennsylvania, which is an entirely irrational fear. I went to the beach maybe 3 times in my life. I've never seen a shark. Like I was led to believe there would be a million of them. But I digress. So, my first experience with video games was both loving this character that I could relate to because she was a girl, and also in brutal terror of this goddamn shark, which I still refer to as that fucking shark. So, I plan to talk more about my actual art process, but now that I'm watching it, I'm kind of like, what process? I guess if anybody has questions, they can ask me, and I can answer them to the best of my ability. But other than that, I haven't gone into it. Well, like I said, it's my birthday today. I'm 26 now. I never thought I'd be here in my apartment waiting for my family and friends to come visit me for my birthday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be playing Fortnite with my brother. He's a good kid. He told me about Fortnite, which is funny because I'm usually the one telling him about video games. So, that's going to be my day. Funny to be turning 26. I'm over a quarter of the century old now. So, anyway, I guess the video is coming to a close. So, I want to thank everybody who stayed with it for this long without meeting me. And here's Seersha. Thanks. If you guys want, like I said, you can leave a comment below if you want me to keep doing stuff like this. You can maybe make recommendations on what kind of stuff I can talk about, or maybe, just maybe, no promises, but I might